Hello, Basehead family. Hello, Basehead family. Okay, so a user asked a really good question. Essentially, how do you get louder outside of the vehicle, right? You want people to hear you for a long ways. Some people do, some people don't. I know my Juke was like that. It was very quiet on the outside, which was nice. It was a 150 vehicle. I could roll the windows down, blare my music as loud as possible, drive all around town. I never got pulled over once. Cops never even took a second look at me. Was great for just driving around town. However, when I went to a bass competition, it was never very impressive from the outside. So, how do you get louder on the outside, or what factors influence that? And I can tell you right now, I can think of three. And I bet there's going to be some people out there that have a lot of experience with this that can really give some really good answers. Hopefully, guys, if you know of some ideas besides what I'm putting down, be sure to throw them in the comments, and maybe I'll do an update on this video sometime in the future. Okay, so first off, the 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 easiest and most simple thing to think about is you have to look at your car as the subwoofer box when you're talking about being outside of it. Now, we always talk about this when you're inside of it, but it's even more important when you're outside of it. You have to basically view it as a box. So you've got speakers. If they're ported, it's kind of acting like a sixth order once you roll your window down. And so if you go shopping and you want to get really loud, like your front yard, and you're looking at two cabinets, and one's got 4 subwoofers, and they're 1,000 watts each. I guess for outside home stuff, maybe they're 200 watts each. And let me redraw this one. And you're looking at one that has a single sub in here for 200 watts. So 200 watts here, one sub, or 200 watts for each of these 4 subs. What's going to be louder? Obviously, 100% this one's going to be louder. This one's it's smaller. There's less stuff going on. Same thing with the vehicle. If you've got a small vehicle, it's not going to, so like you have a tiny little car and you've got 115 in there and you've got 2,000 watts on that 15 and you do a 150 with that versus a big SUV that's got, let's say, 315s, 1,000 watts on each 15, and it does a 150. Well, that SUV from the outside is going to have more authority because it's just a bigger speaker cabinet. This is the same thing with my van. So I just set up system in my van, and it plays lower too. So it plays lower than my Juke, and at the same volume, I can open up all the doors, and it is just a beast compared to my Juke. I open up all the doors, I have unloading issues with my Juke. Not so with my van, and the van is it's tuned a little lower too, so it's got a lot more authority. So that's another thing, tuning. If you want to be in the 30s, you got a big SUV, you're probably gonna have a lower Helmholtz resonation, so you're gonna probably be real boomy in the 30s. The car, it might be more like around the 50s, and that bass just doesn't have the same impact outside the vehicle. So cone area, power, getting your vehicle louder, all of those obviously are going to help on the outside. Having a smaller car, you're just kind of at a little bit more of a disadvantage than having a bigger car. Now, if you're staying right next to the car, the difference between an SUV and a small car probably not going to be that much of a difference. But if you are, 300 feet away, that big SUV is going to just produce a lot more bass. Okay, that's number one. Number two, leaks. So most cars, if you have a stock cabin, you've got little vents that leak to the outside, and you got holes basically in your panels, and all this can cause leaks out of your cabin. And all these leaks, once again, if you're thinking of your box as a speaker cabinet, do you want a leaky speaker cabinet? You do not want a leaky speaker cabinet at all. So cabin modifications like deadening and foam and all that will kind of take care of these leaks. And then what you're left with is basically once you roll down the window or open that door, all the bass is directed. You're no longer leaking all the bass is coming out of the window, and you've got a proper, basically, port. And when we talk about the window and port, something to keep in mind is that a smaller car, when you roll this window down, might be tuned higher. So this window and how low you how much you lower it down is going to be basically your tuning for your car. It's kind of like when we talked about designing the sixth order, and you have that front chamber, and that front chamber is so massive that you almost have negative, almost have like a negative port, because the port has to be like basically so small. And so same thing, when you open up this becomes your tuning, and you open up another window that also adds to your tuning. So playing music at that tuning of the window will also help you be louder outside the vehicle. Which kind of leads me to the last point. I know this one's kind of just awkward, but the shape of your vehicle, and some vehicles just don't play as loud outside as they do inside. The shape, every little thing. Once again, this is your speaker box, is your car, and so every little thing affects it. You know, the curvature of the window and the straight panels and all of that add to kind of a unique box. And how you have your box. Are you going to have a big box back here? Are you going to make a wall right here of just subs? Like, all of that is total speaker cabinet design, and that in your window kind of all create a unique combination. It's impossible for me to say, oh, someone's got a 1995 Honda Civic and they're trying to get super loud outside the car, beyond just saying, you know, trial and test and maybe throwing a bunch of subs in there. And like I said, some cars are just not going to like to be loud outside of the vehicle. Anyways, kind of an interesting thought to think about. Guys, throw your comments down below. I love you. I got a whole bunch of videos I've got to get done and uploaded. I just having a hard time finding the time, but you guys have been giving me some great suggestions, so I've been adding to my video list. So I've got some cool content coming out. I also want to talk about, do some update videos on my build too. Get those out soon. All right. Love you guys. Cheers.